Hello everybody, my name is Sunny Rabbit, and in case you couldn't tell, the newest Warrior Cats book is on the shelves, and I'd like to give my initial thoughts after reading it. Spoilers for Sky. This video will be largely unscripted. I've written down a couple of bullet points which I'll expand upon, but that's largely it. So far I don't really care for Sunbeam. I've never really connected with any of the protagonists, and Sunbeam isn't an exception. While I don't dislike her, I don't like her either. I'm rather neutral on her arc so far. The love triangle between her, Blazefire, and Lightleap was a bit too reminiscent of Bristlefrost and Rootspring. I'm hoping that now, since Blazefire and Lightleap are together, the plot will sort of go to the wayside. On that note, I don't think Nightheart and Sunbeam are in love. The writing doesn't have the same lovey-dovey feel that characters like Greywing and Clearsky had when talking to their mates. You can tell in the writing that Greywing and Slate clearly had a thing for each other. I'm not getting that vibe for Nightheart and Sunbeam. I think they still need to work it out. Lightleap and Blazefire were clearly dipping it and doing it outside camp, and I think that after this, in the next book, Lightleap will probably be pregnant. They'll have 3 kits, one that looks like her, one that looks like Blazefire, and one that looks like the both of them. Bonus points if they name one of the kits Rowan Kit. On the topic of Rowan Kit, the green cough outbreak was wasted potential. Missed opportunity to call the inflated cast list, only 1 cat died and the plot was dropped relatively early on. Right now the cast list is just a bit bloated, so I think a green cough outbreak that did more than just take 1 cat would have been beneficial. Not that big of a deal, but it just seems like it was solved rather quickly. One thing I don't see discussed about this series is that names are really important to these cats. They never call each other nicknames, and even kits call their mothers and fathers by their actual names, which is a little weird. The Owl Nose Owl Star thing happening during the gathering, I think, really solidified that names are, really important. I think given that context, I can see why ThunderClan was really upset that Nightheart changed his name. I think Nightheart is going to stay in ShadowClan the next book. The blurb for Shadow all but mentions this, with it saying a ShadowClan warrior but not mentioning Nightheart by name despite doing it with the other 2 protagonists. I think Sunbeam is going to be a little shocked, and they're not going to be mates at first, but they might do something where they pretend to be, just so Nightheart can stay in ShadowClan. Squirrelflight and Bramblestar are fighting again. They basically fought like a mini proxy war using Nightheart, which was, concerning. I'm seeing the theory floated around that either one or both of them will either retire or be ruled unfit with this new rule in the code, and I think that's likely at this point. They're really dysfunctional. If that's true, I think Ivypool would be a good candidate for the ThunderClan leader, as I don't think there's really any notable characters who would make a good fit. That's an obvious choice. I guess Lionblaze, but he seems a bit too aggressive lately, and I'm not sure if he would be my first pick. Not over Ivypool, definitely not. Frostpaw's a precious bean, and everyone expects way too much for her. She's going through a lot right now, it's rough. Frostpaw's probably my favorite protagonist out of the bunch, and at this point, probably my favorite protagonist. I mentioned that I'm never really connected with either of them, but I just imagine Frostpaw as she's having a tough time, and I support her fully. Frostpaw and her siblings are almost or already 1 year old. They are said to be big enough to be warriors. They were born in Leaf Bear, and it's now currently Leaf Fall. Splashtail is a sussy baka. I'm split between whether he's a ringleader or not. It's too obvious, so I think it's a red herring, but I'm not entirely gonna discount that he had a part in killing Reed Whisker. It would be wild if it was just a coincidence. He's just doing all this stuff like comforting Frostpaw, he's taking her to the moon pool, and because he's a nice guy. I think that's not what's happening. He definitely has some part in it, but I don't think he's the one who's in charge. There is a team racism B-plot in ShadowClan. It's brewing now and will most likely spill over in book 3, where ShadowClan is taking over RiverClan. I think it's both in the interest of team racism and team coup that they get ShadowClan out of RiverClan, so I think they might end up teaming up in the next book. Book 3 tends to be a status quo change, so I think it's going to be revealed who exactly was behind the coup. There should definitely be cause for concern that another clan has leadership over RiverClan. Technically, this does fall within Rule 16 of the code, but it's definitely a technicality. Each clan has the right to be proud and independent, but in times of trouble, they must forget their boundaries and fight side by side to protect the 5. Each clan must help the others so that no clan will fall. If all clans were getting involved to help, I think it would work out, but I think that because it's specifically ShadowClan, that's where the issue is. Tiger Star was told to leave RiverClan alone by the other clans, and he pretty much ignored it, so I think there's definitely going to be an issue at the next gathering. My next bullet point says I don't like Nightheart. Someone told Tiger Star about the RiverClan catmint. I hope it wasn't Fidget Flake, because that seems like a really weird thing to tell him about. There seems to be two main theories about the new leader of RiverClan, Frostpaw or Mothwing. I'm Team Froststar, since Mothstar being leader would mean we have 3 Tiger Star kiddos leading the clans. We need to break the ThunderClan meta. Crack theory, Nightheart becomes leader of RiverClan, and I am in full support of it because it would be the most hilarious answer. My final bullet point is, where is WindClan? They have nothing going on in this arc yet. WindClan also borders RiverClan, but I don't think they have the emotional investment that Tiger Star does. Finding out about the catmint was probably the final justification he needed into butting into RiverClan's business. Overall, I thought this was a good book, a little disappointed with how quickly the Green Cloth plot was solved, not fond of Sunbeam's love triangle plot, but it wasn't terrible. Visiting the amusement park or state fair was a fun side plot while the RiverClan issues are happening. I'm enjoying the setup for this arc so far, hopefully it continues to be a fun murder mystery. I'll also be going on a temporary hiatus. It's a bit short notice, but my other obligations have begun to pile up, and I have to take a break from videos. When Warrior Cats Wednesday returns, they'll be either bi-weekly or just on Wednesdays with no set schedule. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you in the next video.